And welcome back to Continuous Miracle Radio right here on WGLM 106.3. Scott here with you this morning. Got Mike in studio with us.
Hey, good morning, folks. Wonderful day here.
Dangerous Darren on the dial.
Yeah, good morning.
Yet again, thank you, sir, for your service, being in here with us on a beautiful Sunday morning.
Oh, it's gorgeous outside.
I'm almost converting to the shorts today, I'm thinking.
You gonna go? You gonna take the leap?
I'm going to show people what not getting tan looks like this time of year.
Oh, good. Well, you can be an example.
Should I have black socks and work boots to go with it, you think?
Cut off down?
Yeah.
Please do.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
Suggestions.
Please do.
Okay.
Can't wait. Thank you for the picture, Mike.
Okay. We're working with what we got, remember?
We do. Got a guest in studio with us again this morning for you folks. A gentleman by the name of Brandon. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Thank
Grateful you're here with us again, or this morning. So we've had Mike's had a pretty busy week.
Yes, sir. I became more painfully aware that my driving skills need a bit more polish.
Oh, no, what'd you do this time?
A tactical error. The officer said you should not make a U-turn in front of a bigger truck. And really, it was improper lane usage, but without the U-turn in front of a big truck, you don't quite understand what the lane usage ran afoul.
Ran afoul. I know that piece.
Yeah, it was kind of ugly. Anyway, I can tell you a lot more about it, but in a nutshell, I'm learning constantly.
And you got to subsidize the state of Michigan, and the insurance company is willing to help you out again,
No,
right?
the insurance company said that over the next few years, I'll reimburse a lot of that, they said.
Oh, good. Well, you need to do your part.
Yes, sir.
Not just engage a sheriff every time you go on an escapade. So.
Yeah.
But at least you did it in another county, so good for
True.
you. Spreading your wings.
I'm starting to learn actions have consequences.
Pretty regular.
Built right in, no matter what you do.
Yeah, built right in. All right. Well, once again, we're grateful you're okay. A little cracked sternum, you'll be all right.
Well, no, it got all the ribs on the right side broke and 3 of them on the left. But remember, I was just recovering from the chest compressions and pain?
Yeah.
Well, all this one does is make me sick to my stomach and want to throw up. It don't hurt like it did.
Well, good. Good progress.
Yeah, move right along. Here we go.
Bonus here in the bonus.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God is right. It's the one we can blame for this.
No, we're not blaming. It's just the way he gave me the reminders.
God's favorite child right there, folks.
Thank you.
So anyway, we brought Brandon in. Now that you've got up to date on Mike's driving.
Glad I was running a little bit late, so I wasn't sharing the road with you.
That's a good point, Brandon.
So I'll give you a head start when we leave. How's
That's
that?
part of God's plan.
Yeah. That's what it looks like in Mike's world.
Mysterious.
Yeah, mysterious ways. So Brandon's in here again, still with us this morning.
Still here.
And here to tell us a little bit about himself and what brought him to the recovery community and some of the things he's done since arriving. So what about that, Brandon? Where are you from, young man?
Well, mostly from right here in Greenville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I moved here when I was about 15, 8th grade, over from the east side of the state, and so I grew up right here.
Okay. So folks transplanted to Greenville or
Yep.
moved over here for work or something?
Yeah, my dad moved over here for work, and then we followed.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Go ahead.
No, that's it. So I grew up here. You know, like a lot of people who grew up in small towns. You know, dreamed of the big city of Grand Rapids.
Oh,
I mean-
yeah. Well, it's there.
Yeah, we didn't dream of it, but we were. You know,
Drawn to
there
it.
wasn't much else going on around here at the time.
Right.
You know, I was growing up when here when the Frigidaire went out, and a lot of the manufacturing went out.
Yeah, it really crippled the town for a while there when I left the community. So it was a difficult time for a lot of people.
Yep.
I know when I was growing up, it was so poor around here, we had to party out on state land. That fall into place for you folks too?
Do you consider that poor? They're the best times of my life. Yeah.
So there's opportunity to get started out here, huh?
There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of land, a lot of time,
A lot of woods.
a lot of woods, a lot of places to hide. Yeah. So this is where I got started. Is right out here. Yeah. I mean, what do you want me to?
Well, where'd you go from there? 15. I mean, got here and then you moved down to the big city, or did you?
Yeah,
stick
no.
around the
Once I
area?
was an adult, I moved over there.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did your addiction take off before you moved to the big city?
Oh, I think it was pretty well alive and kicking by the time I moved here.
Okay.
You know, I'm not sure who your listeners are, but I guess I can really go down that road.
Yeah, you can say whatever you'd like.
I mean, so here's the thing, and I always talk about it when I was, you know, as the fog lifts, the longer I'm in recovery, the further back I remember. And
Yeah.
I remember a lot of these tendencies.
Which is normal.
Yeah, right? It's
Or
expected.
you discover them when you're working a program.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And the further back I look, I'm like, oh, this thing was always kind of with me, you know? I always wanted to escape the way I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was, you know, going off into my head in stories I was telling myself in my head, or wandering off into the woods by myself. Because, you know, when we were kids, we could do that. You know, come back for dinner.
They can't do that no more?
They don't.
Oh, well, they got phones now. They don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I, you know, and I think back, and I think my first experience with substances really was sitting in my room building model airplanes. And I was using that, you know, that fast drying model glue.
Oh, okay.
Stuff with acetone in it.
Yeah, and get my face right in there, and, you know, I noticed it made me a little dizzy. And so, you know, I kind of like that, you know. My parents would tell me, like, hey, you got to open the window in there. I was like, why? We're kind of like this.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
You know, and then I kind of like the way gas smelled, and, you know, I was like, well, that does that same thing. But, you know, that comes with a lot of side effects. You know, there's kind of more negatives than positives doing
Right.
stuff like that.
So, as a party I missed.
So it wasn't something I would dove too deep into, but I can remember those tendencies where I liked that feeling.
Feeling different than what you were.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
that could take me out of myself. And,
Okay.
And the real interesting thing about what you just said, most alcoholics, the alcohol is broken down into acetone.
Yeah.
And that's where the buzz comes from. So you were just looking for a different source.
yeah, I got to get that acetone in there somehow. So I looked around a while for, you know, the substance that I actually wanted. And, you know, there wasn't a starter drug. I mean, there was what was
Yeah,
available.
it doesn't come with a starter kit.
Right. I was full throttle from the beginning. Anything I could get my hands on, and obviously that starts with alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, alcohol is everywhere. It's easy to get. You know, I remember the first time stealing alcohol from my parents and actually drinking enough to get drunk. And I was at a family party, drank enough to get drunk, and my cousins were real concerned about me, but I was like, man, this is awesome.
No, you were wrong. Prove it.
I was on a mission. I was on a mission. And, you know, from then on, it was anything I could get my hands on. I
Take
wanted
you out
to
of
try
yourself.
it. Yeah. And I was looking around. And so by the time I moved to Greenville, I was on a run. I was in high school. Marijuana was easy to get.
Prevalent.
Very prevalent. It all smelled like hay, and it was all stuck together in these little clumps and as full seeds and stems. You know, really different than the stuff I see now. It hardly resembles the stuff I see now. Maybe smelled like it a little bit. But
I guess there's been some progress made.
Yeah, depends on the direction you call progress.
right, I see people smoking now, and their pipes not, you know, popping and spitting because their seeds blowing up in there. Oh, missed a seed.
Not wearing a flame retardant shirt.
Yeah. Yep. So I did that through high school. I started getting in trouble in high school because, I mean, that's all I wanted to do. And the thing that was really different, I realized with my substance use than the people around me, because it seems like most people in high school kind of experiment.
Yeah,
the
go to
data
school,
shows.
yeah, and then Friday night,
Yeah.
comes around, or Saturday, whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. They party on Friday and Saturday.
Right.
And I go to that party, but if I end up at a party where there's not enough substances or not enough of the substance I want, I go find the next party.
Yeah, it's common practice, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And then when the week comes around, I do the same thing. You know, maybe some people are getting high on a Monday night, and I'll do that with them. And then they take it easy the rest of the week. And now I got another group of friends that I can go with. And, I found out a good way to figure out where the party is and, where those groups are that are using every day is to just sell drugs. So,
Opportunity.
yeah. I mean, I could talk about that, right? It's
Thinking,
legal now.
man.
It's-
Yeah.
So,
thinking.
it had several benefits. It was financial benefits. It got me in the crowd, in the different crowds, into different crowds. But I was always with the different crowds, right? But I never felt like I was, part of one.
Right.
Sure, alone in the crowd sometimes.
Alone, all the time. Alone in a group of people. And the only thing that really made me not feel that way is if I'm drinking or if I'm using something. And then it's just a mask, really, because, I wake up in the morning and that feeling's gone.
Again.
So
we got to go find it.
Gotta go find it again.
Yeah.
And that was what was different about my substance use. I realized compared to my friends that were kind of experimenting, is I had to do it. I had this compulsion where I had to go find the next one.
Yeah, it's described in the book.
Mhm.
The addiction, the cycle that next day I got to do that again next day,
Yeah.
just to feel normal.
Yeah, no matter how bad it got.
Mm-hmm.
So I got in trouble in high school, and I got kicked out, and big deal got made. At that time I probably, if I didn't have this disease, I probably would have been like, oops, I went too far. I'm done. Right? There's my consequences. Oops.
Yeah, and the majority of the people, it's what they learn. There's consequences to your actions. And they cease and desist, or they learn.
I'm a little slower learning about driving myself, but
Right.
I know the
Well,
consequences.
yeah.
Right, you got to break the rest of the ribs before you figure it out.
Well, that's this week's job.
That's only this week.
You got work to do this week.
See, I'll report back.
Oh, please do. I'm sure from the front seat.
Oh, I hope it's not an officer helping with the report.
So as you're going along and you move here and you're back into
Yeah.
your addiction and doing the things that that aren't good for us, right? We know that now.
Yeah.
But when we're living that life, we think that's the only life we know, right?
Yeah, I will, and I mean that's in the book too. That's in the literature too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it sure is.
We
Thanks
think
for
that
saving me.
I'm like, how is everybody else managing this? Why can't I manage this? They're all used. How do they handle sitting in school wanting to drink, right, all day, and then not going and getting drunk right after school? I can't understand this.
Right. They're going to do homework.
Yeah, they're going to do homework. They're going to play sports. Oh man, they got to go football practice. They're not going to get home till like 8 o'clock tonight. Man, they got to wait that long to go get stoned. Whoa, Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, and that's the difference between an addict
Mm-hmm.
or someone in full blown addiction, and maybe living life a little bit more normally, you know.
Right. It's the only life I know, and I can't understand why I can't manage it. And so finally in high school, what happened is I was selling selling cannabis, and I guess you could call it cannabis back then.
Sure.
Um,
It's always been called cannabis.
I mean, it's always been called cannabis, but very different from what's out there now. And somebody was trading me OxyContin for it. An older person was
That's
trading.
really addictive.
That was really
OxyContin.
addictive. And everybody comes to find out, everybody's got it, and it really changed the game, kind of the demographic that was involved in the trade, because I started trading weed for it, and my OxyContin dealers ended up being people on Social Security disability, older people, people who were
okay.
disabled, and
Well, let's touch base on that a little bit when we come back, because it is an interesting dynamic how that. I know when that OxyContin came on the scene and how prevalent it was, not just in the Greenville community but nationwide. So come on back and join us after these brief messages from our sponsors, and thank you so much for being part of the continuous miracle right here on WGLM.
You hit the ground running.
Huh?
You hit the ground running.
Yep.
Did I?
Yeah.
So far, so
Good
good.
job.
This is what you're looking for?
Yep.
Yeah.
I can tell a different story.
Stick with the truth. We'll use that one.
Okay. All right.
I'm full of shit, but he kind of stays on top of this.
Yeah, he's good. Thank you.
Hey, Scott, Mike, and Brandon back here with you on Continuous Miracle Radio. Thank you so much for listening this morning. Man, what a beautiful day. I'm going to say it again.
You're right.
Prior to the break here, we were talking to Brandon a little bit about what brought him to the recovery community. And was talking about when the OxyContin epidemic, I'm going to call it because that's what it was, kind of came on scene in the country, and what he was doing, where he was in the middle of that, and how that affected him and his life and his walk and his path to the recovery community. So you were talking a little bit about your customers who are wanting to trade instead of use cash, correct?
Yeah. So the aging population and the people with disabilities, and it seemed like everybody over the age of 40 had an OxyContin prescription, or if they didn't have OxyContin prescription, they were prescribed Vicodin, and they were working up towards.
You're talking about during the epidemic.
Yeah, I'm
right?
talking about like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that stuff was being passed out like candy. I know.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so I thought of the harder drugs like like meth and coke, and I'd done all that stuff. Uppers really weren't my thing.
Mhm.
I knew I'd tried heroin. I thought that was really great, but it wasn't readily available. You had to drive to the big city to get that, and you're probably just going to get robbed.
Sure.
And so,
Economic decisions kept you away from that.
right. I like to keep my money and my blood inside my body.
You got a chance. You know.
So yeah, I didn't want to. So the first time I tried it, it was so strong it just made me kind of. I liked Vicodin and stuff, but the OxyContin, I took it. It was so strong it just made me throw up, and I don't think this is for me.
Oh, let's do that again.
Yeah. I said I'll just stick with my Vicodin and stuff. And once I built up a tolerance to that, I didn't realize that OxyContin was the same thing. I didn't know anything. I didn't know enough about drugs to know what opioids were as a group.
You just know how it made you feel. You weren't willing to investigate it.
Right, and most things, I mean, it wasn't that I tried it once and it made me puke. It was like, I'm going to try this again and again, and maybe this isn't for me. And it wasn't until somebody said, you know what, you should cut that pill into quarters and try it like that. And did you also know you could inject it? I said, oh, that sounds interesting. Because I was still out
What
there.
else are you doing?
Well, I was like, you could snort it or take. I didn't take pills at that point. I'd never take any, swallow anything. I was past that point in my use, in my exploration, and so I was willing to try anything because I'm looking for that ultimate high.
Mm-hmm.
The alcohol, the other drugs I was doing just didn't get me quite where I wanted to be, and the first time I injected this, again, I puked. I was in my friend's yard and I was projectile vomiting, puking all over the place. And I said,
Not a good day.
great day. I said, this is the best I've ever felt, And what level of insanity is
That's
that?
where I was going.
I got blood running down my arm. My friend just helped me inject. And, I puke out there puking, and my eyes are all screwy. And
You sound like a poster child for the best day ever.
yeah.
How you doing? I'm great.
Yeah, I'm great. Puke all over my shirt.
Right. Practicing my addiction.
And I that was it. I was like, this is what I've been looking for. And I had a ton of it because everybody, like I said, everybody had it, and they were trading it to me, and I thought it was worthless. And at that point, it was pretty cheap. And so I took right off, and everyday user almost immediately.
Of Oxycontin.
Yeah, injecting.
Because it was so addictive.
Yep, and I got closer and closer to, well, I got to know more and more people that got it, and, would buy and sell it, and I was just completely enmeshed in it. And the thing is, the only time I would stop was when something forced me to. I'd go to jail for something, or I'd end up in rehab.
Right.
And, and the problem is, I'd go to jail, and I'd sit there, and I'd withdraw, and it'd be awful, and I'd sober up, and I'd sober up in jail and say, oh man, I'm really hooked on this stuff. This is really a problem. I gotta stop this.
As soon as I get out, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Well, you have stopped. You're in jail. But.
Right, and I'd finally be feeling okay in jail, and the night before I'd get out, I'd be up all night obsessing about where I'm going to get it, who I'm going to call. Just completely blank spot in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
And, I ended up jail. I tried to run away. I tried to get out of town, get away from it. If I could just get out of this town is killing me.
Sure.
And so
What's the common denominator?
I don't know how long you want me to go into my drunk log.
Because wherever I go, there I am.
Yeah. And so I went and I, started working on Mackinac Island for the summer.
Yeah, that's a friendly place.
It's a friendly place.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked it.
A pocket full of oxys.
Yeah.
As a kid, it was I really liked that place, and it's it's still got a spiritual draw for me. I still go there every year, and I really loved it up there. But that's not what I was doing while I was living up there. You
were practicing your addiction.
Right. I got away from the pills and stuff because it's just harder to get up there, but I just drank, and I just drank myself almost to death every night. And end up in jail.
On Mackinac?
Yeah, so there's a whole...
You're talking Sault Ste. Marie.
St. Ignace, yes.
Yeah,
so,
St. Ignace, there we go.
Yeah, I got caught in a raid one night. They were... Because you think about it, everybody up there is a transient employee. They're working for the summer, or they're from another country, or they're college students.
Passing through.
Just passing through. Mm-hmm. And so everybody's kind of partying, and they're just in that phase of their life. And again, it's just like me in high school. Everybody's kind of partying, having a good time. Is where I'm getting up in the morning and pounding vodka and going to work and pounding vodka at work and
make a day of it.
Take a little nap when I leave work and start all over again. Start my day over again drinking. I ended up in a raid there. they were actually looking for a guy who robbed another guy for some ecstasy. That's who I found to hang out with there.
Yeah.
And they kicked in the door, and there were a bunch of people in the house, and I ended up going to the jail. There's a holding cell on the island, but then they put me on a Coast Guard boat and took me over to the main jail in St. Ignace because they
Special treatment.
yeah, you're gonna stay away. You're gonna be staying a while.
Yeah.
We'll invest in you a little bit. Yeah, so I was only. Well, I was still getting minor in possessions of alcohol, so I was probably only 19, 20.
Yeah. But on the fast track to
Yeah.
blowing things up early. Yeah.
Yep.
Meaning your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first felony, and then I ended up going to prison years later, and same thing. I went to prison, and I got out, and parole violation in 3 months, substance related. Get out of from my parole violation. I'm out like a month, right back in, and it's just rinse, repeat.
Well, and that's the addiction that I don't want to say revolving door, but we don't do something different when we come out of incarceration, or we run into that brick wall on the outside and get some sort of help.
Yeah.
The addicted behavior will continue.
Yeah.
It'll recycle. Yeah.
And
And you've experienced it, and we've seen it often enough.
Yeah.
And I know in my youth, no, you couldn't tell me anything. No, everybody goes to jail.
Well, yeah.
No, they don't.
And obviously getting exposed to recovery at that point, right? Because
Yeah,
a lot of
you should
judges and parole officers are telling me I got to go to AA. More and more. I'm getting, counseling, AA.
So they were giving you a consistent message.
They were giving me a consistent message that I might have a problem with substances that could be at the root of all my incarceration and, problems I'm having with
Big neon sign, go
Right.
here.
my relationships and my driving. It could all be related to my because I'm like you. I never sold my car when I was done with it. Right, every car I got ended up in the scrapyard, or impound lot.
My kind of man.
Yeah, I never like sold them. I don't know what it's like to clean up a car and put it on the market. And
Yeah,
sell
who does
it.
that?
No, I got rid of them when they were. Yeah, they were done.
It wouldn't move anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Sat down the back of a flatbed.
Yeah, I rolled my big old Chrysler Fifth Avenue, my boat. I rolled it up by
Land yacht.
land yacht. Rolled it up by Turk Lake Bar.
Good place, I mean.
You leave in Turk Lake Bar, got thrown out for sleeping at the bar. As opioids and alcohol, the combination will tend to do to you.
Brought about a nap.
Yeah, take a little nap at the bar. They don't appreciate that. So I left, rolled the car. But yeah, I just cycled through and kept getting the message, and things kept getting worse for me. And it's not like anybody ever wanted me around, living at their house or working at their business, or got
Well,
more.
for obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, it's a huge liability.
Yeah, yeah.
God, I wouldn't hire me.
Right.
The thing about us alcoholics, though, is like we can always talk somebody into it. We're really good at getting jobs, right?
Can't keep one.
You can't keep one. I can be real charming for a week or so until you actually get me on the job site for 8 hours.
Then you got to go all of a sudden.
Right. Then I got to go all of a sudden, or I
Right.
get there a little bit late. Yeah. So that's the point I got to in my life where.
You're back living in Grand Rapids.
Back living in Greenville because I
okay.
moved to Grand Rapids, and I tried to get things together, and then back in Greenville and back in my parents' house. And,
So what was the incident that I guess woke you up to the fact that you needed to get some help?
there wasn't a single incident.
Okay.
I'd had all these consequences up to this point. These arrests and these near-death experiences and overdoses.
Paid no attention to them.
Paid no attention.
Right.
I mean, they were building up in my mind. Like, I could see them in the peripheral. Like, this is really bad. Stuff's getting really bad.
But it's not affecting me yet.
Yeah. Well, one more. I'm just
keep
going to get
working
high
up.
today and it'll be all right. And, I got to the point where I'm back at my parents in Greenville, just probably ruining their lives.
No,
They don't
nobody
want me
wants you around.
No.
They have to keep you around, apparently.
Unemployable. I don't have a car to drive. I don't have a license. There's not much here you can get to without driving. And, I had some warrants and stuff. I had a retail fraud. I had a couple retail fraud warrants. And, because that's what I do. I'd steal stuff or I'd, hustle, well, all kinds of stuff to get money. But,
Okay.
And it was just that collection of, like,
Cumulative effect.
cumulative, and it was just hopeless. I saw no way out. Every day I just woke up and I had to get high. I woke up broke and I just felt awful, and all I could think about is how am I going to do this, and I could barely scrape together enough to get high every day, to not feel sick, and I'm living at my parents'. I see no route out where I'm going to get a job or I'm going to get my license back, and I just, it's flashing in front of my eyes that, like, one of these days I'm just going to overdose in their basement. They're
Sure.
going to have, a quiet funeral, and very few people are going to show up. It's just going to be quiet, and then that's the end of me.
Mm.
And I was 27 years old, and I knew the 27 Club. About the 27 Club, all the rock stars that die at 27. I'm like, I'm going to die completely unknown. This is not the plan.
Not a rock star.
I'm going to die like drowning in a bowl of Cheerios in my parents' basement.
That's Jimi Hendrix.
So people knew who he was. And,
Yeah,
he
true.
got to have some real fun out there.
Hank Sr. too.
Yeah. Yes. Kurt Cobain. Yeah. All those guys.
Yeah. 27 Club.
The 27 Club. So I was a month from turning 28, and for the first time, I went and I asked for help, and I said, I don't care what that help looks like, I'll take it. Because I would always go in with conditions, right? Like, I'd go into AA and I'd say, yeah, this is cool, and I like the meetings. I don't like to be able to sit here and smoke in this building, which you could do back then.
Yeah.
And I like to hang out with all you and drink coffee. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to read that book. I'm not getting a sponsor.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
if I really like somebody in here, I'll ask him to be my sponsor.
I like you, but I'm not listening to you.
Right. And that's how it was. I always went in with conditions, right? Because that's my ego telling
Right.
me, like, I need to guide how my recovery is going to go. I need to tell you how you're going to do your job. To help
And you'd written several books on the topic by then, right?
Yeah. Falling asleep trying to write a journal entry, 'cause I'm going to write the most epic journal entry ever. Man, drooling
That
on
is
the
ego.
paper.
I recognize it.
They're going to read my journal after I die, and it's going to be this epic book. Yeah, okay. Just a bunch of pages with drool and blood on it.
Right.
Cigarette ashes, burns, and, yeah, so
Another bad day.
yeah, so I'd been around. I wanted to set the conditions of my recovery all the time, but this time I called, the Access Center, and I said, I'll take whatever help you give me. I didn't say I won't go to this treatment center, I won't go to this one. I said, just wherever you'll take me.
So it sounds like maybe you became willing.
I was beaten into a state of willingness.
Beaten into a state of reasonableness.
Reasonable. I wasn't willing. I
I'm
was
willing to try something different.
Yep.
All my ideas have failed utterly.
And
It's also referred to as being made malleable.
pretty malleable gray stuff up in my head at that point. Spending a lot of time not breathing around
So
that.
who did you call then? The first
I called
access?
Network 180.
Network 180. Okay.
And and so they said, well, you're gonna go to detox, and I said, okay, that's all I need. I'll go to detox. I'll clean out. I'll go deal with these warrants. And I went to detox, and something happened, a few days in, and I was sitting there. I remember the moment sitting there in the cafeteria, and it's like there's this woman, very young woman next to me, and there's a guy across the table from me, and it's just real messy. She's nodding out, and he's like just off in space, and I'm like,
Well, there's a reason they call it a detox center.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Most folks
Oh.
don't show up there, dressed for success. It's not their best day.
And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. This is my life. What the, you know?
This is where I am, right?
Wow. And I was like halfway through my Social Security application. So my goals in life at that point in my life were to get Social Security disability, to continue on all my prescriptions that I had, which I'd convinced a doctor that I needed all these narcotic prescriptions.
Sure.
And to get into like an AFC home or some kind of subsidized housing. I was 27 years old.
That sounds like a jumping off point. We're going to come back here a minute and talk about what happened at Recovery Center and a little bit about what Brandon's life looks like today, because it is a continuous miracle. So come on back and join us right after this break. Thank you so much for listening right here on WGLM 106.3.
Perfect. Really.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't what if you did a speaker talk like that, it'd probably be too much of a problem, but we needed to hear it.
Oh.
Okay.
You're gonna cut me off. Tell me when it's time to recover.
Right now, next segment.
We're gonna get sober now, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's over. Hey, Scott here, back with you on Continuous Miracle Radio. Thank you so much for being part of the program with us this morning. Mike in studio over here.
Say hey.
Brandon, our guest, Dangerous Darren on the dials. And Brandon was talking a little bit prior to the break about the depths that addiction had taken him, and what his turning point was, where he actually surrendered and asked for some help from when was that actually?
That was April 21st of 2010.
2010. So you've been sober for a minute, huh?
16 years.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And we want to point that up because that's the continuous miracle, folks. That's what happens when we get sober, stay sober, and help other folks try to achieve sobriety. And that's what Brandon has been doing the last 16 years, which is phenomenal. And thank you for your service, sir. So entering the treatment center, being at a point of surrender, I'll do anything.
Right.
I recall what you said, correct?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Takes me a lot of beating to get there. I usually don't talk about my drunkalog this much. But thanks for reminding me to get sober. But I think it's, like you were saying on the break, it's really, really important, because when I talk about that, that was what I was looking for at that point. Like, because I would think myself out of any form of recovery, because I would compare myself to anybody in the room. Nobody knew what I was going through.
You're too smart to get sober.
Yeah, I'm too smart. I'm not going to believe in all that crap.
Smartest guy in the room.
Right here.
Smartest guy in the room, and here I am.
Can't drive a lick, but he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, and that's how I always felt. Like, I couldn't relate to anybody in here. You don't know what I'm going through. And
Sure.
so I always forget that that's the point, is when we go to a meeting, is to relate to that newcomer. And so I tried to talk myself out. I went back and forth. I'm in treatment, and I went to the detox, and I was there, had that revelation that I don't want to do this anymore. And they said, hey, you can go to a 90-day program. And I was like, whoa, 90 days, that's a long time.
That's like forever.
Yeah. And
For an addict.
yeah, so they're like,
Not using.
taxi's going to be here to pick you up. I was like, okay, cool. I got a whole taxi ride to decide where I want to get out. And then the taxi even stopped at the store so we could buy cigarettes. And the one guy did get out. And he was like, I'll meet you up at the treatment center. He did. He'd gotten a pint, though. But I got up to the treatment center, up to the Jellima house.
Oh, there's a Jellima house in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, they're on Lion Street.
Oh, welcome, brother.
Awesome.
I'm a graduate.
Yeah. I'm proud to say I'm a graduate
Yeah,
as
former
well.
president.
And it was funny, that program,
I'm glad to be here for an alumni association meeting.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Please don't drive the bus.
Yeah. Let him drive the van.
There is a van.
Yeah, that's
there
right.
was.
I remember.
Yeah, it's really sad to see that program close because it was.
Yeah, helped
It
a
wa-
lot of folks.
Yeah, it was. It was not what I was used to with treatment. It was a house in the middle of town, big house, but and they really integrated us with the community. Like, they every day we had to go to a meeting.
Yep.
And at
First
first,
Street Church at the North Club. Pick one.
yeah, every day it was like, get in the van, we're going to a meeting. And for the first month, it's like they're just taking us to giving us a little bit of taste of everything.
Introducing you. Yeah, to the recovery community. What
Yeah.
it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was good because throughout my recovery, it's come in phases. I've needed different things at different points in my recovery, and I'm grateful that I was able to get that sampling to know what's out there and to know
Sure.
and to meet all the people, right? So if I walk into an NA meeting in Grand Rapids, I typically go to AA, but if I walk into an NA meeting, I still know people at the NA meeting.
Sure.
I know people at a lot of the other meetings in Smart Recovery. So I know, so I got a good sampling of the people, of the experiences that were out there. The path I chose,
And all real life experiences.
and all real life experiences.
You don't find any nonsense
Oh.
in a meeting like that. You go and those people are there for a reason, and it's to help save the life of the newcomer.
Yeah.
And they don't even realize any of that when you walk in 16 years ago.
Yeah, and truly authentic. Like, nobody's there for the
Right.
financial gains. And now, my current position where I see the financing of recovery and treatment, realizing that nobody's there for the financial gains.
Right. Right.
Because it
No,
doesn't
it's
exist.
Service.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got, that experience. I clung to it like a dying man. I walked into a meeting. It was an AA meeting. I asked for a sponsor. I, just swallowed my pride because I was always looking for that perfect sponsor.
Yeah, he don't exist.
He had to have the same experience that I did, right? The exact same experience, and he had to just be that guy. And I walked in, I was like, I need a sponsor. Anybody.
That's good. That's good. And he had volunteers, right?
I was looking around the room, and I wanted this guy. I kind of wanted this guy. But, like...
It's not a dating service.
Right. Oh, don't date your sponsor.
Right.
There's a literature about that somewhere.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah, it's out there. You just bring it up in a meeting as a topic. I get there one guy approaches me after the meeting, and he got me started. And I still have the big book that he gave me, and it was stained with the ink or oil or whatever from his factory job.
Yeah.
And I've still got that big book. It's in terrible shape now. And he started working with me, and it didn't work out. He was having a kid or something, and didn't have the time. And
it happens. Life is life. And just because we come in and we're getting sober now, the world
Right.
doesn't stop.
Yeah,
Everything keeps turning.
right. And I like my habits. I like my patterns. And so that was really disrupting. And I had to learn to adapt and just keep moving forward. And there was a guy at that time who was coming to the treatment center to read with one of my friends there. And he was sponsoring him. And I would just sit there and read with him. Finally I got up the courage and I said, well, can you sponsor me too? I know you're busy and you guys are further along. He's like, yeah, man. And at that point, I wanted what that guy had, which was he had a license, he had a car,
Winning.
and he had enough money to buy his own nicotine.
He's doing all right.
I thought, okay, this is what and the guy had never used hard drugs. But I finally realized, get that mental block out, and I said, I can actually relate to this guy. It's the same thing. It's just
Addiction.
it's just a different substance.
That's all it is. Yep.
And we related, and we went through the big book, and we talked about it.
He asked you a lot of questions.
He asked me a lot of questions.
Thought-provoking
Explained
questions.
his understanding.
Questions nobody you were trading Oxycontin with asked you.
Right.
I got a feeling.
Yeah. and so that's how that went. And the important thing was like it was not my plan. If I could have structured my recovery the way that I wanted to structure it, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I think that the thing I learned is I have to stay humble and keep my eyes open and open-minded for what's coming next.
Yeah. Because you don't know until you know.
You don't know until you know. And I get attached to things. I judge what I think is right or wrong or better or worse. And that's not how it happened. And that's how my whole recovery has been. One of the things that,
Well, because you remained open-minded, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
willing, right?
I don't know the
There's a
path.
yeah, exactly. You don't know the path until you actually get on the path.
Right. And it's a feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's not always validation.
No.
It's like,
You don't need it if you're doing the right things.
right.
You don't need validation.
It's my connection to my higher power and the rest of the world that kind of guides me to say like, okay, I think today I'm on the right path. But tomorrow that same path might not be the right one. I may need to shift. I may need to adjust. And that's how it's happened the whole time. I got fired from my first 3 jobs.
Congratulations.
Sober. Yeah, sober.
Overachiever.
Turns out I'm not really good at, 1, construction work, and 2, showing up super early in the morning as that field requires.
It does.
But now I've grown since, and I really enjoy doing that stuff now. But, I couldn't pay the rent at my recovery house because I kept getting fired. And so I ended up going to college because I knew I could get student loan refunds.
Oh, yeah, student loans.
And so did that, and now I got a master's degree.
Congratulations.
I really stuck with that one. Thank you.
So you found something you could do, study,
Yeah.
and apply, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Obviously I got other jobs since that, but I've been able to help a lot of people. I went into a field. I was volunteering to help people at a harm reduction program. Never intended to get paid. I ended up running the site, running the program, expanding the program through 7 counties, and then getting hired by the state of Michigan, the health department, to expand that work.
And that's what you do today, right?
And that's what I do today.
So you're running 7 counties of I call it the Red Project, but you have a different name for it. So.
Well, the Red Project is 7 counties. There's also programs like the Red Project. There's 36 of them now, I believe, around the state.
Fantastic.
So they brought me in to do that, and I was able to use my. One of the things at Red Project is that when they asked me to volunteer, I said, "Well, I can't do any of this stuff. I don't have a degree. I don't have the training." They said, "You have everything you need. You have the experience. You can talk to people. You can connect with these people."
You just don't know how to apply it, and they're willing to teach you that.
And
right?
they're like, "That's the easy part. We can teach you that."
Yeah.
And I can learn that, and I did in school to learn how to better use data and inform decisions and build programs. But that that connection is huge, and that's what I can always offer to the newcomer. So I've sponsored, I don't even know how many people at this point
Yeah.
in my recovery.
That's critical.
I worked.
The more people you work with, the more you learn about yourself.
And I've built the pool of potential sponsees because I worked in the early days on Narcan to get Narcan available throughout the state. It used to be almost illegal to possess when I started giving it out. So there's more people alive.
And today, Narcan's available in numerous places. I know the library.
Yeah.
And there's another couple of different places. Any doctor's office, I think, has a dispensary now where you can get a Narcan. I mean,
Most
that's-
Corwell
Corwell Health,
sites
yes.
have them like in a old newspaper dispenser type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's accessible. Thanks, partly to your efforts anyway.
Yeah.
Getting out there and making it, doing what you do, making those connections, the importance of making these recovery tools available, right? Because we talk about harm reduction, and that's one facet of it.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to have a chance to recover if they're dead.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
That informed decisions, did that show that when these Narcan was available, opiate deaths went down?
Oh yeah, for sure. We've seen a huge drop off in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, I know.
Something's
I've seen
working.
data on that too. That's
Yeah.
amazing work that's been done. People are alive today because of that.
Yeah, and we don't know how many chances it's going to take, right? You know, any of my overdoses, that could have been the end of it.
Sure.
And yeah, it's a great life, and it's not my design.
That's the important part.
If it would have went the way I planned,
Yeah.
it would look like a mess. And
Can't think your way out of it. You got to live your way through it.
right,
So.
right.
Hey, I want to thank Brandon for coming on the show today, coming down to WGLM, being on the air with us, and sharing a little bit about himself and some of the things he's done for the recovery community and continues to do with his continuous 16 years of recovery. It's amazing. We're going to have Brandon on for a second segment and talk a little bit more about harm reduction and the project in the upcoming weeks. So make sure you tune in for these continuing shows. Thank you so much for being with us on Continuous Miracle Radio, 106.3 WGLM. Scott signing off.
You're getting a lot better, Jeff.
Thank you.
Get out of the way. He's going to run me back.
Time, yeah.
He's got to pee.
No, Jared's going to run me over. He said.
Oh, Aaron's on a move.
He's going to sprint. Leave that.
Where are we?
You did good today too, Mike.